All right, welcome everyone. Lovely to see some new folks in the in this Zoom Sangha, and welcome to those of you who are practicing with us after on the YouTube channel. I hope you feel that you're part of this circle and that you're in community, even though we're not in real time together. What is real time, anyways? But that's another talk. Oy. So. My name's Jill, and I'm a Dharma teacher and one of the guiding teachers now with True North Insight. And I'm living on Six Nation territory, colonially known as Fergus, Ontario, Haldeman Tract Treaty Lands. And my pronouns are they and them, and I'm a non-binary person. And I don't often give that much intro, but when there's new folks here, I like to give some context. Welcome to you all with all of all that we bring in terms of identity and presence. Tonight, I've been meaning to do this one for a while, and I don't think I have. I did take a peek back at some of the YouTube recordings. I'm like, did I do that already? Because I don't know. I teach 5 or 6 classes a week, and sometimes I'm like, what did I don't know. So, anyways, tonight teaching about pain, talking about pain. Have we done that? Any nods? All right. Um, Often our practice is, most often, we've been doing a focused awareness practice where we're cultivating some calm and stability and unification of awareness with an object. And of course, when awareness moves away, as it does, to other thoughts or sensations or sounds, that's noticed at some point and we begin again and we come back to that chosen anchor. And we do this hundreds of times over and over, begin again with kind attention. There's another way of practicing, sometimes is called investigative awareness. Mm, It's not really open awareness or choiceless awareness. It's a bit different than that. But with this one, we still begin with an anchor to cultivate some presence and calm and um, some focus of attention. And then when something strong pulls the awareness, so not just like because there's always different senses and thoughts and sounds coming and going. So those are just noticed and we we stay with or return to the anchor. But when something really strong keeps pulling our awareness, then we let go of that anchor and turn towards what that is. So there might be like a really loud sound in your environment, or um, like we used to practice out in a yurt that we have here by the river. And sometimes there'd be people like cutting down trees with chainsaws, or people hunting on the river and shooting guns. Awesome. And dogs barking and stuff. And so you can't, it's not a skillful use of it, energy and attention to be like, pretend that's not happening. Just stay on the anchor. In when something strong arises in the whatever sense door, then we turn towards that and notice reactivity that's come with it, notice some stories that come with it, wanting and not wanting, aversions and desires, and notice its quality, particularly of arising and passing. And then we would come back and begin again. So this could be with sounds. with thoughts, really some really strong thoughts that are um, kind of persistent. You might let go of your anchor and turn towards them like, what's up? What do you want me to know? What's needed here? Do I need some metta practice, some self-compassion, turning towards it for a bit? And similarly with strong sensations. So this is Dharma lingo for pain. Most folks just call it pain. In Dharma, we often call it strong sensations. That's probably annoying for people that have pain, strong pain. It's like, please, just call it pain, would you? You know, when you really have chronic pain or strong pain, it's like I think folks often find it a little annoying to hear it referred to just as strong sensation. So I want to talk more about that tonight because all of us will at some point experience pain. We have experienced pain. There's more to come. It's part of being in this form, this life of all these sensations that we will be experiencing pain. Some people have chronic pain, some people have very extreme pain, um, and so, some of us just have like occasional pains that last for different amounts of time. The practice, these practice tools are helpful for giving some space or disassembling some of the identification of pain as a thing, as a solid, permanent thing, often identified as my pain. Um, and we can even be saying things to ourselves like my bad knee or my bad shoulder. Um, just notice if that language is happening and see if you could uh, lessen some of that identification with it being my bad something. It's not helpful. So we want to disentangle a little bit from the story of the pain or strong sensation. There's a sometimes cited little mathematical equation version. I can't cite who said it first at this moment, but it's pain times resistance equals suffering. Pain times resistance. So how much we're resisting the pain equates to the degree of suffering that's experienced with it. And this brings to mind the Arrow Sutta, the second arrow, sometimes it's called. And I've put the link here in the Zoom and in the YouTube. It's down below in the links. You can read this sutta. It's a good one. They're all good. All right, so I want to talk about this sutta a bit. Checking the time. Yeah, we're good. This is interesting language. All right, it says, an uninstructed run-of-the-mill person, that's us, uh, unless you're enlightened, or um, also having insight um, and wisdom takes us out of this category. So an uninstructed run-of-the-mill person, this is referring to someone that is not practicing the Dharma and maybe hasn't had teachings and practice, feels um, feelings or experiences of pleasure, feelings of pain. No, yes, they do say pain. Feelings of pleasure, feelings of pain, and feelings of neither pleasure nor pain, which means neutral experiences. and what's also called a well-instructed disciple of the noble ones. So this would be a monastic person or someone who's really practicing and on the path and studying the Dharma, practicing the Dharma. It says they also feel feelings of pleasure, of pain, and neither pleasure nor pain, which is a long Dharma way of saying neutral sensations. Um, so that's interesting. Sometimes people ask, like, did the Buddha still experience pain? Most certainly, um, because being a human being, that's part of this experience. So here's the difference. Um, so here's the difference. When touched with a feeling of pain, the uninstructed run-of-the-mill person sorrows, grieves, and laments, beats their breast, and becomes distraught. So that they feel two pains, physical and mental. And here's the arrow part, just as if they were to shoot a person with an arrow, and right afterwards were to shoot them with another one. So the first arrow, of course, is the first experience of strong sensation, aka pain. And the second arrow is the sorrow, grieving, lamenting, beating the breast. What else? Becoming distraught. This is the part that we can have some insight about and some choice about the degree of what we do with this. Um, it goes on. It's really quite a descriptive teaching. It says that when we are touched with a painful feeling, we are resistant to it. We have an aversion to it, but we add resistance. And this resistance obsession, it's called, with regard to that painful feeling, obsesses us. There's, a real quality of clinging and aversion and obsession and resistance with it. And then it says, touched by that painful feeling, we delight in sensual pleasure. Why is that? Because we do not discern the proper escape from the painful feeling aside from going towards sensual pleasure, sense pleasure. And then delighting in sensual pleasure and obsessing with that and not seeing clearly that everything is conditioned and arising and passing, not understanding what is origination and the passing away of all these, all the everything, everything. Uh, so this is interesting. When someone who is not seeing with wisdom uh, experiences painful sensation, and then there's this strong aversion and resistance to it, and mind states that get added in the story and the projections into past and future, the whole package. Then we tend to delight in sensual pleasure. So we're always moving, if we're in meditation or just reactive and looking for escape and, self-soothing with all the things, all the things, many things. I don't need to list the things, but all the ways that we look to comfort ourselves and distract ourselves from this strong sensation, pain. Um, Now, a well-instructed disciple of the noble ones, when touched with a feeling of pain, does not add sorrow, grieving, lamentation, does not beat their breast or become distraught. So they feel one pain, physical, but not mental. just as if they were to shoot a person with an arrow and right afterward did not shoot them with another one. That would be nice. Just, I'll take one, thank you. One's good. It's so it's so accessible and possible for us to do this, to not add the second arrow. And this is what we're going to practice tonight. So here's a little thing before we do the meditation. I think that Tara Brock, I heard her offering this as a little practice. Um, Cred to you, Tara. So uh, she says to hold up your hand in front of you and look at your hand. Yeah, so you could look at the front of your hand and the back of your hand and see what stories there are there, like, time for mani-pedi, or look at those age spots, or I have really dry skin, I should be putting some lotion on, or yeah, just notice what stories come as you look at your hand. Wow, there's a lot. I have gnarly joints. And see, as you look at your hand, you might be looking at the lines of your hand, but how there's a sense of my hand. And there's all these stories about it and thoughts about it. Now, if you leave your hand there and close your eyes for a moment or look down, if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, and now just start to feel the sensations in your hand. And in very slow motion, you might just move your hand a little bit, side to side, very slow. Or you could curl the fingers a bit, waving them, keeping your hand lifted there with eyes closed, and just now feel these sensations with a little less attachment of the eye sense door and identifying it as mine, and see there's tingling, vibrating, pulsing, coolness, heat, touch of air sensation around. And there may be a sense, if you don't have a visual image of it, of the hand being a different shape than what we identify with when the eyes are on the hand. Maybe it feels bigger. You can't really tell as much where the periphery of that hand sensation is. Okay, and then you could gently lower your hand and open your eyes again. So this is just a short introduction to how we want to turn our attention toward the sensation without just naming my mind as a solid permanent thing with a lot of stories around it, but just get curious with the sensation. What is it really like? Especially around pain sensations, some curiosity around what is this I'm calling pain or my pain? Uh, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it vibrating? Is it sharp? Does it have what feel like solid edges or periphery, or is it kind of fade out at the edges? How far does it extend that sensation up or down or side to side in the body? Does it feel like there's a solid center, or is it kind of a wider sensation? So these are some ways to just get curious of what is this sensation actually like? And just that curiosity can often bring an experience of change in the sensation, impermanence. And impermanence is a liberating insight. So it's no small thing to notice the impermanence of a sensation. Oh, it's vibrating, it's pulsing, it's moving. It's not solid. Um, so we're going to do a couple different practices exploring pain tonight. So the first one will be kind of that way I just described. And then the second is more for uh, when it's really strong pain, really it can be often too much to explore sensation in that way. And so we'll do a practice. It's kind of like titrating, where you just touch into it and then also attend to an area that's neutral or pleasant, which we'll do in the meditation. Um, so we'll do a couple different things in there. And there was something else. What was that? Yes. For folks that feel, mm, sometimes people say, my whole body is in pain all the time. Some folks feel like their whole body is in pain. And so it can be helpful to get curious with that and see, like, is the upper tip of my right earlobe in pain? Can I, and even if it's just neutral, or, to get curious with, like, is the tip of the nose in pain, or is the left middle toe in pain? Well, toes often are in pain, but seeing if there's a neutral place or even a place that's mildly pleasant, because we can get so identified with if the whole body feels really inflamed. And so getting curious and exploring um, where it isn't that kind of sensation. All right, that's enough talking. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. And even if you're not experiencing pain tonight, we'll find some. No, I'll give you some other ways to practice with it. Nice. All right, let's get relatively comfy as much as is available for you. Of course, it's often a sleepy time of evening to be practicing for those of us on the Zoom call. So we are practicing awakening. So adjust your posture so you feel some degree of comfort, but still some wakefulness and presence. Mm. Mm. Take your time to settle in, see if you need any movement or stretch, adjustments or touch. Sometimes taking a few slightly deeper breaths or sighing breaths can be helpful. And with all of our practices, it's important to take a good amount of time to just begin with some relaxing and settling and grounding. Feeling the muscles of your face, seeing if there's any tension in the forehead, the eyes, the jaw. that might not be needed right now. And could you invite some softness or space or kind awareness with that tension? See if it lets go a little bit. Check out the muscles of the neck and across the shoulders and see if there's tension or contraction or holding there. See if allowing the weight of the shoulder bones to be felt helps those muscles to lengthen and drop. Feel the weight of the shoulders sliding down the arms to the elbows and all the way into relaxed hands. Hands that are practicing letting go. If it's helpful, a few deeper breaths to feel some movement or release in the area of the heart center and the belly center. These are areas that can kind of get locked down if we're in times of stress and activation. So seeing if some amount of soft belly or feeling the movement of the ribs as you breathe. With this spring weather that some of us are experiencing, we could feel a sense of thawing of tension and dripping, softening, rooting down towards the earth, grounding. And then, as we mentioned with the focused awareness practice, we'll do this for a while to develop some calm and stability. So as the body is continuing to relax and ground and settle, you could now choose an anchor for yourself. The anchor could be somewhere where you're feeling sensation in the body, could be sensations of breath or just sensations perhaps of the hands where they're resting as we practiced feeling our hand earlier. Choosing one of these places as your anchor that you will return the awareness to when it has drifted away, either feeling your hands or feeling your breath sensation. Just choose one. When attention is drawn to other sounds, thoughts, or sensations, when that's noticed, gently, with kindness, return to your anchor again. Like training a puppy to sit. We do this with kindness and gentleness and consistency over and over. Begin again. Slowly to noticing thoughts and sounds have drawn our attention away. Sometimes a stronger sensation, a kind of moderate pain might draw the attention, and we just notice that and begin again with your anchor. And then if awareness is repeatedly drawn to the same area of moderate sensation, then you can now let go of your anchor and turn towards that area of strong sensation. If you're not feeling, or moderate sensation, if you're not feeling pain right now, just choose an area where there's a relatively stronger sensation right now. So it might be just a sensation of an area that's cold or feeling a bit of pressure against the chair or whatever surface you're on, or a bit of area of tension or pressure from your clothing. So let's all check this out now. You could just let go of the anchor and choose an area that has a stronger sensation right now. And now we'll bring that investigative awareness to it. What is this really? What is this sensation? Is there tingling, vibrating, pulse? Does it feel electrical or sharp? Is there a sense of temperature, hot or cold? And then check out the edges of that sensation. How far does it spread or travel? Does it fade away at the edges? And after a few moments of exploring the what this sensation actually is like, then you can come back to your anchor again, feeling either your breath sensation or your hands that you began with. And now we'll explore another way to practice with pain, particularly if you're experiencing strong pain. But we're going to let the awareness now move to an area of the body that feels pleasant or good or relaxed or some amount of ease right now. It could be even an area that feels pretty neutral, not strong or not a strong sensation, but just pretty easeful. Or it could be an area where there's a bit of tingling or a comfortable texture or pressure or temperature. If you feel like you're not able to access an area that feels pleasant or neutral right now, you might recall a time in your life when you felt at ease, when you felt happy, comfortable, easeful. You might really bring that into awareness, recall that time and see how did that feel in the body? Where did you feel that? How did that feel? So let's all choose an area now where there's some pleasant or good sensation. And see, what does that feel like? What is that sensation? Just rest there. Allow yourself to feel some ease. Sensation might feel a bit clearer now, or you might notice change. Maybe it's expanded or whatever you notice about it. And now here's where we just do this titrating, just touching into letting go of this pleasant sensation and move to an area of pain or strong sensation. Just for a little while. Notice what that's like, where it is, how it is. Couple more breaths here. Maybe noticing if there's some story with this strong sensation. Does it feel like an area that's often noticed as being my bad something? Or is there a sense of it's always been this way, it's going to keep being this way, past and future? Is there some story around it, like I should have done something differently about this, or I need to do something about this? And just offer some compassion towards this conditioning, this story, mm, this solidifying around the resistance to the sensation. Just separating, disentangling some of the story from the actual sensation. Just giving compassion to the story. So that might show up like, may I be gentle with myself? May I have some ease and space around this sensation? Okay, now let's let that go and return to the pleasant sensation. Return to that pleasant or neutral or easeful area you were noticing before. Let yourself rest there, abide there. Now, in these next few minutes of silence together in your own time, just touching briefly with the painful sensation or strong sensation, back and forth between the pleasant and the unpleasant, staying as long as feels skillful to you in either place, back and forth. Okay, to stay longer with the pleasant sensation and then just briefly touch the painful sensation. And now we will expand the awareness into a bigger field so that you could feel both of these areas simultaneously. feeling the strong sensation and the pleasant sensation from a bigger, a slightly wider field of attention that can know both of these. If that doesn't feel accessible, you can try on what Tara Brach calls the sidelong glance, where you abide with the pleasant sensation and then just have kind of a peripheral awareness of the strong sensation. What happens with the sensation when we meet it with this kind attention? Lastly, return to your anchor that you began with. Taking some deeper breaths if it's helpful, feeling your breath sensation or your hand sensation that you began with. Hmm. All right, friends, I hope there was some helpful tools and practices in there for you. Check out the link to that sutta down below if you're practicing with us on the YouTube channel. And hmm, yeah, enough said. Be good to you.